I really enjoy simplifying life, and while we often think that it requires big changes or proven habits, that's not always the case. Some of the things that have made my life so much simpler and less stressful weren't what I expected. They weren't expensive tools, perfectly optimized systems, or things that you would find on a best productivity or minimalist hacks lists. In fact, some of them don't really look like they make sense at all. But over time, they have made things easier, lighter, and more manageable in ways that I didn't realize I needed. So in this video, I want to share 10 quite unusual things that have genuinely simplified my life. Let's get into it. The first one is same path, same time. Every weekday, right after waking up, I take the exact same morning walk. Same path, same direction, same shoes, same jacket, except during summer, of course. For some, that might sound really boring or even like robotic. We are often told to change things up, try new routes, keep life interesting. But this part of the day for me isn't about variety. It's about having one moment that never asks me to decide anything. I get up, put on my shoes, and just go. There's no phone, no music, just a quiet street, fresh air on my face. It's like my body starts moving before my brain fully wakes up. That little pause before the day really begins. It makes all the difference for me. The second one is owning duplicates of the same clothes. I think most people look for variety in their wardrobe. New colors, new pieces, something fresh to keep things interesting. But for me, when I find something that fits well and feels right, I pretty much stop searching. I have several of the exact same white t-shirts, for example. When one of them wore out earlier this year, I didn't go looking for a new style, I simply replaced it with the exact same one. For me, this is not about fashion or some strict minimalist rules that I have set for myself. It's just about peace of mind. I don't want to stand in front of my closet wondering what to wear every morning. There's something really comforting about reaching for the same thing and knowing that it will always feel right. If this is something that you would like to try, just look at what you actually wear very often and of course like, then get 2 or 3 of that same item, not because you have to, but because it just makes life a little more stress-free and maybe actually a little more like you. Overpacking on purpose. Packing light is usually seen as the smart thing to do. Keep it simple and efficient. And for some things, that totally makes sense. But when I leave the house, even for just a walk or to meet someone, I often pack more than I actually or technically need. I always bring water, even though I live in Finland and it's rarely hot here. I usually throw in a snack just in case I want to stay out longer than planned, and I often pack an extra layer. That is exactly because of Finland, because the weather here can shift fast and sometimes it's very hard to predict how cold it actually feels just based on the temperature alone. This is probably not what people expect from someone who talks about minimalism, but for me, this actually is minimalism. I would rather carry a little more and feel calm than get caught off guard and feel stressed. It of course also saves me money because I don't have to go to buy, for example, water, and it makes it way easier to be spontaneous, to enjoy life, because I have that water, I have that snack. I can put more clothes if I want to stay out longer, for example. I believe that if something makes your day stress-free, even if it seems like extra in some sense, maybe it's still worth making room for. Treating digital peace like a real priority. Digital safety isn't something I used to take seriously a few years ago. It always felt like one of those things you would deal with if something bad ever happened. But the truth is, when it does happen, it's already too late. Whether it's someone hacking into your account or clicking on an email that wasn't your bank, actually, it can create a mess that takes time and energy to clean up. And personally, I would much rather avoid that kind of stress altogether. That's why, just like I protect my mental and physical space, I treat my digital space the same way, using NordVPN, which is also kindly sponsoring this video. NordVPN helps secure my connection and keeps hackers and scammers out, but it also protects me from data collectors and sites that quietly gather information about me. By masking my IP address and blocking many hidden trackers, it prevents companies from building a full profile on me just by watching what I click, what I search, and even where I'm browsing from. So it really gives me a big layer of safety and privacy without basically adding any extra effort or complexity to my day. They were kind enough to give me a personal Sunnykind Journey discount link, which is nordvpn.com/sunnykindjourney. It's one of those tools that runs quietly in the background, like a lock on your front door. You don't think about it every day, but if someone comes in because the door was just left open, you wish it had been there. If this part of your life still feels a bit exposed, it might be time to take it more seriously. And with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee, there's actually no risk. You'll also get a huge discount on a 2-year plan and 4 months extra using my link, nordvpn.com/sunnykindjourney. Go check it out, the link is in the description. Over-documenting small insights, even if they don't go anywhere. I write things down all the time, a small thought, a random sentence, something I notice while walking, basically anything that catches my attention. I just type it in my phone or in a notebook. I've actually even stepped out of the sauna or shower just to write something down before it slips away. And the thing is, most of these notes never turn into anything, so it might seem quite unnecessary. A lot of people let these small thoughts pass unless they feel very important or in some way useful. Some don't want just this clutter in their phone or in their notebook. But for me, writing it down clears that mental space. It's like placing it gently somewhere safe just so that I can move on. 6. Not picking the fastest option. The usual way of thinking is to take the fastest option. Drive, order a taxi, take the bus maybe. We are always trying to save time, be more efficient, and get to the next thing, next place as quickly as possible. So choosing to be slower doesn't really make sense on paper. But I often walk, even when it's not the most practical choice. I don't always check which way is fastest. I just choose the one that feels better in that moment. So sometimes I even leave much earlier just so I can walk slowly instead of rushing. I get to move my body, breathe deeply, notice what is around me. Maybe a stranger walking their puppy, the way the light falls on a building, the feeling of cold air or sun on my face. These tiny things that don't even exist for me when I'm focused on getting somewhere so fast. And yeah, it also saves me money and gives me space to mentally arrive before I physically do. So this habit reminds me that the goal isn't always to move faster, it's to be here while I am moving. If walking is not an option for you, just keep this idea still in your mind. So whether you are driving or biking or on a train, see if you can do that without rushing. The destination doesn't change, but how you feel when you get there definitely does. Tracking less to avoid knowing. When it comes to investing money, it's pretty normal to keep checking your portfolio. People want to stay informed, track the ups and downs, maybe tweak things as they go. But I don't really do that. I rarely actually check my investments. Sometimes I go months without looking, even a full year. I don't follow any financial news, I don't check daily graphs, and I definitely don't want to see numbers just bouncing up and down every time someone important in our world makes a new announcement. It's not that I don't care, I just know what checking too often does to my head. It makes me really anxious, even when I know that nothing is actually wrong. Most of my investments are really long-term anyway. I made those years ago, and I prefer to just let them sit. I trust the decisions I made more than I trust my reactions on a bad day. Number 8, closing everything I'm not using right now. When I'm working on something online, I keep only the tabs open that I'm actively using for the task. Everything else gets closed, even if I know that I'll come back to it later. This might sound a bit extreme or unnecessary. I know plenty of people who leave everything just open and just bounce between the things. And if that works for you, that's for sure like fine. But for me, having a bunch of unrelated tabs waiting in the background makes it so much harder to focus. Even if I'm not looking at them, I can feel them there, reminding me of other things that I could or should do next. It adds this background pressure I don't really need if I want to focus on something. So when I close everything that's not part of what I'm doing right now, my mind feels quieter. If you struggle with this as well, start treating your browser or desktop the same way you would treat a physical workspace, like your table, for example. Not as a place to store everything for later, but as a clear surface for what you are working on right now. When there's only one thing in front of you, it feels much easier to begin. 9. Analog workout tracking. I always bring a physical notebook to the gym to write down every workout, sets, reps, weights, all by hand. It's actually something I have done for nearly 10 years, even if these days carrying a notebook to the gym isn't really that common. I think most people follow a program or have a rough idea at least of what they're doing, but they don't track anything consistently. And those people who actually do, they usually use some sort of fitness apps for that. So yeah, sometimes people look at my notebook like it's super old-fashioned, like what am I doing? It probably seems quite serious, like I'm not that big of a guy, like I'm not definitely not a bodybuilder or trained for anything specific, so it might look weird. But this habit actually helps me to stay focused. I don't get pulled into messages or notifications. I don't have to guess what I lifted last week or try to remember how something felt. I just flip back a few pages and there it is. Writing things down by hand actually makes the session feel even more intentional. Like I'm not just going there to get it done quickly, but actually showing up with a proper plan. It's simple, but it really works. Scheduling time for unfinished tasks. Every week I schedule one block for the little things that I didn't get around to. Same day, same hour, every time. Sometimes it's a message I forgot to answer, a form I didn't fill, a small task I started but maybe couldn't finish, things that aren't that urgent anymore but still linger somewhere in the back of my mind. It might sound strange to actually schedule time for things that should have been done already, but having that space set aside helps more than you would think. Just knowing it exists keeps me from carrying those little to-dos with me all week. It's not about being extra organized, it's just margin, it's breathing room, and I work much better knowing there's some of that built in already. If this sounds helpful to you as well, try picking one regular time each week where you know that there will be a small window for you. Even if you don't always use it, you'll probably feel lighter already by just having it there. Thank you so much for watching. Check out NordVPN using the link below, and remember to stay kind and meaningful in your own beautiful journey. See you in the next one.